Just going to have a look at AJM, okay, which is Ultra mining or something. Anyway, this is as much data as I've got on it here at the moment. Goes back to about there. There's our quadrants that we've drawn in from lows, highs, okay, and 50% is sitting around about this range, okay. I've drawn a overall fib set in as well from the low to the high, okay. It'll give us some pretty good ideas of what's happening. I've also put in from this low here a Andrews pitchfork in blue, and I've put another one in red from this high back down to this low, and it gave us a nice little midline bounce here at the outside tine of the blue fork and the midline on the red. Okay, just looking at moving averages, the 200s in purple, and simple, of course. And it's been quite a volatile stock. It seems to spend most of its life above it. Okay, and we've had a little golden cross in here, but it doesn't seem to be quite too powerful. I'm just going to zoom in and just have a look a little bit closer at this stock here at the moment. And what we can see here at the moment is the 50 and the 30 day are right here, and the 7's just been through, and the 14's coming down. If these two were to turn, I'd expect this to retest the 200 again, and probably retest this bottom line on the blue fork yet again, and that would also be at this last fib, okay, which is the Alamo, okay, and it would also be at that quadrant line. That's what I'd be tending to be thinking here at the moment, that this is probably on a little journey back down there. We'll just quickly have a look at the indicators. See, our MACD is here at the moment, still in a downward pattern, okay, and along with our SCOTH and our DEMA. Our DEMA did try to throw a little buy signal in here the other day, and it's flattened out again, but that's the short entries, and they can be very short. They're too small RSIs. I'm going to quickly do the down and dirty and have a look at the weekly indicators. And MACD is still coming off in the weekly. The SCOTH is right up here at 80 and is on its way down as well. Okay, our DEMA is turned down on our weekly chart as well. Overall weekly, if we go in closer, have a look here, we've got our 200s bunched up here, our 50, okay, and we've had this little cross, okay, in here on the weekly chart, okay, and it failed to go up from there. So I'd be thinking it's probably going to come back down to this 15 odd range. It's only at about 17.5 cents now, and probably give it a bit of a retest in there. If it does that, it will then need to get back up above the 200 again, okay? It could also just do a little bit of sideways here, and then our 30 could come up and our 50 could come up through the 200 again, and that would get it on its merry way. But as we look back here, since 2008, okay, that was probably GFC or something, since 2008, it's been making lower highs. Okay, it's been making lower highs in here. So until it has a definitive break of this top timeline, personally, I'd still think it's going to trade this channel down. So that's what I'd be thinking there. I'm just going to quickly go back to the daily chart again. It's just trying to put some little bottoms in here with these candles here at the moment. On the daily chart, if we did take a little fib from that bottom there, let's have a look here to there, it's sitting right on the 50% now. So if it does go down any further, you'd be looking at 16 is the 61.8, and that would make our Alamo, the last one, I reckon it'll probably turn out to be around about 15, 14 and a half or something like that, which would be this one here. Yeah, there you go, 14 and a half. It wasn't bad for a guess anyway. Yeah, so that's basically what I'm looking at that. I still think that's got a little way to come back off, probably to retest this bottom line. If we do look at it overall though, since back here in 2009, it's made a nice little trending up. Okay, so it's on a nice little 30-degree trending up sort of a line. It just needs to break through this upper tine here, and then I'd say she's on the money. Let's get rid of these fibs so we can see things a little bit more clear. That it'd need to retest also the 50% fib and that quadrant's midline there. Okay, but first it's got to get back above our 61.8. So yeah, it's looking like a little visit down to here before she can turn and go anywhere, but it's tighter and tighter. It'll get there, and it's just going to take some time. Next cab off the rank is MTH, okay, Merithal Resources or something. Basically, this is the overall chart on this from basically when it floated. We've put our quadrants and our overall fibs in again, and we can see it's just failed here at the Alamo. Okay, here it's just tried to get through it and that quadrant line and hasn't been able to do so. What I've drawn in here, this is a standard error channel. Okay, and these things are pretty good. Okay, as we can see, it might go through the tops here and then she's back down to this midline, and it's been working this midline pretty well. It's what I'd be tending to look at there, and we've only had the one bit of a bleed through down to the bottom here. What I'm just going to quickly do with this one here is I'm just going to put a little pitchfork in here, just see where we're at, because that little bottom in there, and we just put the fork in properly, Peter. And just zoom in a little bit, just to make sure I have done it properly. There's bottom, low, low, high, one back to there again. What we can see is it's just basically gone through that bottom tine on this little fork here. So I think this guy is basically again going to be testing the lower point, okay, and that would be back again around the 200, which is around about 15 cents. Again, it's very similar to the last chart, but this one is still definitely in a downtrend, even though it had started this little uptrend here. It hasn't been able to keep it going, okay. And if we just pull in, that's a closing high up there, and I'll just bring that into there, and that'll give us a roughie 21.5 is what you'd be thinking it needs to break. But at the moment she's on the way back down to visit back down here somewhere, just looking at a fib point from there to there. Okay, we've got 50% coming up here, just around about 16.5, and then we've at 15 and a smidgen, we've got 61.8. Okay, to bounce off this midline again, we'd be looking at probably saying that that's going to be our Alamo and 13.5. Okay, so that'd be pretty much spot on that midline. So I'd be tending to think it's coming back to around there, even though no, it hasn't made any higher gaps. It's an interesting one though. It still here, the candles are, this is an inverted gravestone. Okay, so that's interesting to say the least. We do have this gap down the bottom here. We'll just have a look at the volume and we'll just see if that was a breakaway. No, it was not a breakaway on volume. There it is there. So it's not a breakaway on volume, so that gap could get filled. Our MACD is trying to do a turn here, okay, and our short entry has been triggered in here, Okay, that does look a little bit head and shoulderish there on the Dima. Um, uh, so it just might do a little bounce in here. Still would need to get above this fib and then back above the fib here at 19 and a bit. Okay, and that's the Alamo. That's the longer term ones that we saw. Just neaten that up a little bit there. Yeah, so could be trying to do a little bit of a bounce thing there. Just quickly have a look at the weekly chart on it as well. It's not really telling us a great deal more. The weekly candles, by the look of it here, it's still a crow, but it's a bit more of a spinning crow. Our little standard error band here is pointing to the down, so it was making like a small pennant in here, and it's basically broken down from that. Weekly indicators for this one here are turning down, okay, and Dima is turning down as well. If we just see if we can get some divergence off the Dima, might be lucky around this point. So whether this is another one that needs to take up a bit of sideways, there's quite a bit of volume in here. Weekly volumes have been on the increase. So whether it's a distribution or accumulation period. So one would probably be thinking that these tops at 17 could hold on the weekly. Otherwise, just a little retest in there. Yeah, a little bit of an interesting one. When we do go back and have a look at the daily, okay, overall, the only thing that frightens me is breaking that outside tine here on the pitchfork, which really needs to go back down there, Pete. It's bled through it before, so it could be another bleed through. Okay, but I'd still be thinking it's coming down to visit the 200 and this fib line down around here, around the 15.5. That's what I tend to be thinking. It might have just been an A down, do a little B up, and then a C back down. But that's about me for that one. Just quickly on this chart as well is it's making lower highs again. And the other thing I've just noticed here that that also could be a little bit head and shouldery in here. You've got a left shoulder at the moment, and if I can just draw it properly, that should line up with the gap. That would be a neckline, build a right shoulder, and then it could come and break this midline again and probably even come back down here. So just basically overall on these couple of charts, this one here, I personally would not be touching this stock until it had a significant break on volume of 25 cents or above that standard error channel there, for the simple reason that it's still in this downtrend. Okay, it hasn't really confirmed an uptrend at all, and it's broken through this pitchfork here as well, which also would be a little bit of a concern. But I'd be looking at that big red line up there until it broke it on volume significantly. I wouldn't want to be near it, to be perfectly honest. Just to round up an AGM again as well, I'd still be thinking that this 15 would be the line of support. Okay, it is still in a downtrend, and until it breaks through this fork here, again, it'd be quite similar with the last one I just spoke about, but at least it has basically started an uptrend line. So that's what I tend to be looking here. Let's wait to see what happens when it actually does get into a break above this line here, and that'll probably put it towards some more blue sky, and it'll probably scoot a little bit quicker than what it is at the moment. Okay, that's just generally what I'd be thinking.